This is the only time of year where lame dialogue and corny acting can be must-sees and big hits. Christmas movies are in a different world. We are willing to go back to the 1940s and 1950s, and even people in Gen Z know references to very, very old films. And that's what we're going to be talking about on this episode of Hot Media with Bob Mann. A couple of weeks ago, we did a program about the best individual Christmas episodes of great TV series. And I had mentioned to my friend Len Klatt, who was the guest on the TV episode, that I was doing this and he asked to be on. And I also have invited my son, Chris Mann, who is the host of Chris Mann-Nelson, the host of the Movie Quiz, which, if you're watching or listening on this very first day, the day we recorded on December 21st, has a special Christmas episode tonight. And we would certainly want you to take advantage of that. So thank you guys for being here on the show.
Yeah,
And
thank you for having me.
and tonight, Chris, and I know that a lot of people will be watching or listening after it's been on, but with the movie quiz, tell us a little bit about the theme that you're going to have tonight. It's a Christmas show once again, and it is interesting the approach you take and the categories you take. Talk a little bit
Yeah,
about it.
so it's a fully interactive trivia game show / talk show where we have 5 categories of film trivia and puzzles. Tonight is all Christmas movie themed. Usually we have a theme every week, and it's part of a season where teams compete over the course of the season. Tonight's a standalone special, and we also will have we're going to have a guest, Lauren Adams from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, will be playing along and talking about movies, and also Calvin Cole. We also have characters on the show, and he's going to be playing a Christmas movie villain that we have to save Christmas from, because Christmas in these films is always imperiled for some reason. Christmas is always in trouble and needs saving.
Well, I would love to get leg up and get an advantage to find out exactly what you're going to ask tonight. Oh, and that is your daughter, my granddaughter,
Yeah,
sitting there. She has every right to be on the show. But
sorry, she
does
woke
she
up
have
too early.
does she have anything to say there?
I'm sure she does.
Yes, yes. Well, if you have a famous Christmas movie, a favorite Christmas movie, Clara, please just shout it out somehow. Let that be your first word, which will be White Christmas or something like that. So
Die
let's
Hard. Say Die Hard.
yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the categories because they're very interesting, the way that you approach it. It's not just like, what movie is this? But I'll get back to that in just a second. Len, you had said you really wanted to be on this particular episode. And as we were doing some pre-interview prep, you had a great line. So tell everybody about the appeal of old movies to young people.
Well, Christmas movies, when at this time of year, it's the only time somebody under 30 will watch a black and white movie.
It's just so true, though, because I run a communication department in a university, and our film professor is always saying that the students will just go, "Oh, it's black and white again."
Exactly.
And these are media students. It's black and white again. What is it, though, about, for example, the other day on Saturday Night Live, we were talking about Martin Short and Steve Martin and Cecily Strong and Kenan Thompson spoofing a railroad car scene and song from White Christmas. And I was thinking to myself, well, no, this is not going to work with young people, their target audience, trying to get Gen Z and younger viewers on there. But they probably would know White Christmas. What is it about these older movies that works this time of year?
Well, because they're passed down through generations. White Christmas, indeed, you brought it up, is my favorite Christmas movie of all time. And part of the reason for it is it was one I had to watch with my parents every single year. And I think that there are a lot of movies, Christmas movies like that, that your mom, your dad, your grandmother said, you have to watch this. We watch this every year. And it gets passed down. And because of the quality of the films and how good they are in some respects, it's an easy tradition to follow.
One of the things that I think is really interesting is the fact that there are movies now which aren't just about Santa, or they don't have a religious theme. They just happen to be around Christmas time. And Chris, you were saying, telling Clara she had to speak up for Die Hard there. Die Hard in your book is a Christmas movie.
Oh, that's academic at this point, I think. It's and honestly, the ones that are sort of in the trappings. Yeah, that's Dada on there. The ones that sort of have the trappings of Christmas are sort of set around Christmas. I enjoy those the most, but that like take them in other directions. In fact, I will give you one of the clues for the Christmas show this year. The first round is going to be all about holiday sequels to non-holiday movies. So series that decided either in the second, third, or further down the line, movies that were not Christmas movies, but they have a Christmas installment in somewhere in their series.
I wish you could give an example of one of those, but of course I will call Dennis my.
I can give you an example. I'll give you an example.
Right, good.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is one.
Right. Good, right.
So like they go to Wally World, they go to Europe, and then it's a Christmas movie. Also, Batman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Returns, the second Tim Burton Batman movie that is that has a Christmas setting, and it's very much. And to me, if it's set at Christmas, it's got trees and snow and all the iconography. It counts as a Christmas movie.
Yeah, and of course it does come in and play a part. Die Hard wouldn't have happened. You wouldn't have John McClane going out to Los Angeles if it weren't the holidays, and if it weren't specifically that Christmas Eve. Although I don't know why Nakatomi decided to have a Christmas party on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. Yeah.
But I guess it just happened to work for the plot. So
yeah.
At least that was tied in to some degree.
Chris, you probably know this. Isn't the second Die Hard movie set at Christmas time as well?
It is. Yeah. Die Hard 2 is also at Christmas time. I don't want to tell you. I don't want to say too much about Die Hard 2 because it might be in the show tonight. At a critical moment.
Let me text Dennis right now. Dennis
but it does.
All day research.
The first be my only chance to actually compete in your quiz, Chris.
Two is kind of Die Hard 2 is kind of a crazy movie because it's like they really just all of them are obviously variations on the same riff of the first movie, but except for Die Hard 3, but like Die Hard 2 is basically they were just like, here's the same thing. Here's the exact same thing again. It's Christmas Eve the very next year. Let's just do it again.
And of course, he's supposed to be in a Washington, D.C. airport, but all of the payphones, which certainly date it, say Pacific Bell, which is before there was a Verizon with the merger of all those companies. And it was like, how could they let a continuity problem like, it was so huge, but who cares, really? Now, let's talk a little bit, though, about Christmas movies that don't age well, because one of my, and it has been for years, my all-time favorite is Scrooged, starring Bill Murray. But wow, it really just has not aged well for a number of reasons. Not just that there were signs everywhere, free South Africa. That was just something important, and it was a political message that was in the movie throughout, and it was 1988, so we get that. But a lot of other things that have occurred, merely the idea of just taking innocent people hostage at the end is something that probably doesn't pass too much muster these days. Would you say, Len, that there are Christmas movies that even though they might be classic in some ways, just don't age well.
Yeah, I would say so. And yeah, you just brought up Scrooge, which is a movie that I think I watched once and never really revisited. And then, yeah, unlike some other movies that are the perennial favorites, but those are the ones that even if they're in black and white, let's get back to that. Some of them age a lot better than some of the movies that have been come out Christmas movies in, say, the last 2 decades, I think.
And Chris, when I know we're not talking about tonight's movie quiz, but give me an idea from previous seasons. What's some of the categories and some of the ways you played with this a little bit?
Well, I did do one. This is our third Christmas show. The first one I did the 12 Sleighs of Christmas, which was all about violent Christmas movies, so Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, Gremlins, so all of the more blood drenched or atypically violent. Which actually reminds me, you say that you mentioned that Scrooge as an example of not aging well, which I agree. Like the idea that just bringing a shotgun into an office building in 2022 is not funny.
Right.
But this movie that came out, Violent Harbor, which is
we're having some trouble with your feed. Can you just repeat exactly what you just said again? After it's not that funny to bring in a shotgun in 2022, considering the mass shootings that have occurred. But what else were you going to say? Well, because we lost that.
But there is. Hang on. There is a movie that came out this year called Violent Night, which is basically a version of the Lee Majors opening scene of Scrooge, where Psycho sees Santa's workshop. It's like it's Santa versus a bunch of terrorists sees his North Pole shop.
Well, and we're having a little bit of trouble with Chris's audio, but not a problem with Clara waving there. Yeah, it's just kind of I'll edit it out of the audio, but we'll leave it into YouTube because I don't have time to change that. But it's just, I don't know, it's just breaking up just a speck. Len, let's just get back to you for a second and talk a little bit about the idea of not liking a certain Christmas movie. I will probably have people never want to have anything to do with this podcast again after I say this, but I really don't like It's a Wonderful Life. I just find it corny beyond words that I just can't take it. And the angels talking, up in the in the in outer space and all of the rest. Are there movies that a lot of people are like, I know it's a Christmas classic, but I just don't like it myself?
Oh, sure. One of the movies that a lot of friends of mine like, and I am not a huge fan of, is The Bishop's Wife.
That's Cary Grant, right? In that one,
Cary Grant, Loretta Young, and I forget who plays the husband. I should remember that. But it just doesn't. I tried watching it a couple of times, a couple of Christmases, and as late as last year, and it's just okay. This is all right, but it's not my favorite. As opposed to something like Christmas in Connecticut, which could stand a modern day reboot and would be great if they did it, because you could play with the Food Network. I mean, it's a very, 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 very funny movie that works over and over and over again. Whereas The Bishop's Wife doesn't. And you mentioned It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life is a movie that I don't watch every year. I will rest it a year or two and then go back to it. And that way it works to me. So that says to me that as a Christmas movie, I like it. I don't love it.
Well, I think that one of the things that we have to realize is that this is something a lot of people do share, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be universal. And I think one of the things, because you mentioned to me on the television episode that we were doing just a couple of weeks ago, that the movie It's a Wonderful Life came out in August. It had
Yeah.
awful box office. And I'm wondering if that's because it came out when it did. Does a Christmas movie have to come out at Christmas or anywhere in Christmas season, which now backs up to the World Series to be a hit or to be noticed?
Well, these days, I don't think anybody would release a Christmas movie at a time other than, starting in sometime in November. But I think they now are, well, you have places like the Hallmark Channel, which will have a Christmas week in July of all the movies that they have.
It plays in my mother-in-law's apartment all July. I know it very, very well. But, there's a lot of Christmas and July stuff. I actually like the summer better than I like Christmas, but maybe that has to do with my schedule. But the thing is that there is a big thing about Christmas in July. They do it down at the Jersey Shore. A lot of boardwalks do it. So, it is a thing to want Christmas back again. So anyway, we have Chris back with us. And so, Chris, I'm going to ask you, I hope I have put the lower third correctly, for it is play.themoviequiz.com.
That's right. Play.themoviequiz.com. On there, you can see the live stream of me asking the questions and the guests and the characters. And also, that's where you'll sign up and where your questions will be. And you'll see your timer and your multiple choice options. It's all in one-stop shopping. Just go to that website, play.themoviequiz.com. There it is, right there. There. And you'll be all set. And
Right.
yeah, you should come by and play. It'll be a lot of fun.
Now, you are probably going to take a short break after the Christmas special, but if somebody's listening to this and it's not actually, the date that we recorded and I first published, when do you think you're coming back with just regular shows, just in case?
I'm not totally sure. I'm not sure when, but I do. Here, I will update my name here. If you look at, on my name here, I put my trivia Instagram handle, which I update everything. If you whenever you put the lower third up, you'll see my Instagram handle. Okay. And I keep that updated all the time.
That's at Trivia Man.
Yeah, if you just put my lower third up, there we go.
All right.
There you go. And
so you'll have the information about that if people who are interested. It's a lot of fun. I've been playing it for 3 years and I've only won once. So it's
hard. It can be hard, but yeah, because we try to make it accessible for whatever at least something for every level of film knowledge, as long as you're a movie fan.
Well, Len, you do have to play tonight.
What time is it? Is it
9:00 Eastern, so 6 in the evening if you're not booked out there in LA.
6 Pacific.
So, all right. Well, listen, now this is our last episode before Christmas and New Year's. We'll be back on January 9th talking about crisis communication. We're going to really turn the dial here. And any last words on Christmas movies here, because I'll be publishing this right away. This will be heard throughout the week between Christmas and New Year's, which really is part of the 12 days of Christmas. I know the radio stations think it all ends on December 25th, but this is when most people are really getting off from work and being able to enjoy. So any last words, Len, on Christmas movies and favorites?
Well, I will be watching White Christmas on Christmas Eve because that's just what I do. And sometime during the week of Christmas, I will also watch my other annual favorite, which is my favorite movie of all time, which is The Apartment.
All right.
In black and white.
Well, we know that you can watch black and white. We know that. And Chris, what about you?
I just saw The Apartment for the first time. It was on
Really?
it was on my gaps list. Yeah, I finally saw it. It was great. I love Billy Wilder. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of enjoy the non-traditional ones. I'll probably give Gremlins a watch again this year. As well as I do love Scrooged. I haven't seen it in a little while.
It's still
And
worth it, Chris. Even though I said it started to age a little bit badly, it's still got some hysterical lines, and broadcast network television still is as bad as it was in those days with some of the stunts they pull.
And I'll say to Len's point earlier, it is generational, because now that I'm a dad and I've got, she doesn't understand what's going on, but Desmond is 5.5, and he's like, we all watched Muppet Christmas Carol together, which I was 10 when that came out, so that was always a part of my childhood, and now it's it's part of theirs, and it's timeless because the iconography of Christmas time is timeless. There's always a tree. It's the same songs. So a movie from, minus some cultural context, a movie from 1980 is going to have a similar Christmas representation to a movie from 2015 to a movie from 1946. There's recognizable touchstones all throughout. It's sort of Christmas is sort of a spot where and movies capture that sort of a spot where like all time is the same, in there's like a baseline to all of history, because it's all kind of a touchstone that every year comes back to.
Yeah, it is comforting in a way to have it all come back. Well, listen, thank you guys. I think this was a lot of fun talking about this.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry for your granddaughter here.
Oh, that's fine. That is fine. She will be making other appearances in the future, I am certain. She seems to like the camera, which is good.
She does.
I guess,
Where's Clara? Can you say hi to Granddad?
I would guess that's genetic. I would guess. Hi, Clara. How you doing? Hi. For those of you listening on audio, you just have no idea what's going on here. Anyway, Len, I will obviously be seeing Chris, Clara, Desmond, and everyone during the holidays, but I won't be seeing you. So I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Len.
Same to you, Chris, and your family, and Bob.
Thank you. You too.
It was always a pleasure doing this. Thank you.
Right. And looking forward to the baseball season too, Len. And today the Yankees just named Judge their 16th captain in history. So there's always,
really?
Yes. And the Mets signed Correa. So there's a lot of.
This is a morning that I actually feel sorry for the San Francisco Giants.
Oh, they were supposed to ruin the Yankees' entire winter, and they had it ruined on them.
I don't know what's going on. The Mets are going to be an interesting team to hate next year.
Interesting. Well, we'll see, with these playoffs. Anyway, listen, you guys, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And Chris, I will see you and maybe even Clara digitally tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern
9 o'clock.
on the Movie Quiz.
Thank you.
All right. So long, guys.
Good luck.
Bye.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. And that's it for this episode of Hot Media with Bob Mann. That's it for 2022 on Hot Media with Bob Mann. We do come back on January 9th. I will have Steve Adubato, who is known to people here in the New York, New Jersey, tri-state broadcast market as a talk show host, but he is also a crisis communication expert, and we'll be talking about crisis communication, a lot of it based on his book, What Were They Thinking? A perfect title. I thank you all for watching, and of course, if you listen or watch on a regular basis, that I bailed out of Twitter, and I do not in any way regret that. So if you want to know about this show, you can follow me on Instagram. It is BobMann92. BOBMANN for those of you who are listening to the audio feed and not seeing these chyrons on here. And of course, the website, which is www.bobmanhotmedia.com. So happy holidays to everybody. Thank you very much for watching or listening. And we certainly hope that, you will be throughout the new year watching and listening and also subscribing to Hot Media with Bob Mann. Thanks.